Hey guys, welcome back to my vlog. As today is our free day, I went around Rome, taking in the beautiful sceneries as well as admiring the magnificent artworks all around Rome. So I made my first stop at the St. Peter's Basilica, which is known as the Basilica di San Pietro, where there lay St. Peter, who was crucified and buried in Caligula's circus. And this basilica was very grand, where they had a lot of beautiful decorations, a lot of beautiful paintings, including Bernabe's Baldachin and Michelangelo's Pieta. So the interior had a lot of huge mosaics, and in this basilica also laid Raphael Sanzio's tomb, which was very interesting in how they honored this famous painter and artist in this St. Peter's Basilica. I also visited the Pantheon, which is a former Roman temple but now a church, and is considered to be one of the best preserved architecture of ancient Rome. So this temple was used as a church dedicated to St. Mary's and the Martyrs, which is still currently being used as a church, while tourists and other people would still be able to go in and take in the beauty of an architecture from the ancient Rome. I also made way to the Trevi Fountain, which got its name by being the junction of three roads, where three roads means Trevi, giving it the name of Trevi Fountain, and it is the terminal point of the modern Aqua Virgin, the revived Aqua Virgo, and one of the aqueducts that supplied water to ancient Rome. So the end of the free day marks the end of my trip and my study abroad in Rome. And one thing that I really got out from this whole study abroad program was to always be open-minded, to always be accepting of other people's culture, and to always try different things, different food, different experience. You might not know that you might get something extraordinary or something unique out of that experience, which really pushed me to go out of my comfort zone. And I really hope to be able to have the opportunity to go out and explore more on my own in the future as well. Through this trip, I've also been exposed to the difference between the European countries and America, where there's definitely a lot of different kinds of laws in terms of their agritourism, the food policies, and so on and so forth. And what really stood out for me about the difference was that I personally feel that Europeans are more conscious about health and conscious about the food that they intake. They're more aware of the benefits of organic foods and planting their own vegetations, having agritourism that allowed people to experience what a farmer would do in their daily lives, which I think really connects people to the food that they're consuming, to be more aware of what they're putting into their body. Whereas in America, there's a lot of fast food, and people are living their lives in such a fast pace where they don't really consider what they're putting into their body, and they're not really aware about the consequences of that. And personally, this is why I think that there's such a strong relationship between the food and the culture of the people in a particular country, where in America, people are expected to be efficient, to be productive, and so people have adapted to a very fast-paced lifestyle. And so that's why, since the culture of the people are so fast-paced, the food is also influenced to be much more fast-paced, where there are a lot of fast foods, there are a lot of takeouts. Whereas in Italy, the culture really enjoys sitting down for having a meal for a long period of time, and just talking, enjoying the wine, enjoying the food. So they have a lot of slow food programs. They have a lot of dine-in places compared to the US, where we have a lot of takeout places and a lot of fast food chain restaurants. But one thing I do realize in Italy is that, in particular in the city of Rome, there isn't a lot of variety of food, where most of the restaurants are Italian food. Whereas in America, there's a variety of food. We have Mexican food, we have Asian food, we have Italian food, and American food. So it's a mixture of different cultures, whereas in Italy, it's very much focused on the Italian culture. And in particular, what made me feel a little bit like a foreigner in Rome, Italy, was that being Asian made me feel that I was definitely very much of a foreigner, because there was one day when I went out to a pizza place and the whole restaurant was filled with Italians or Europeans, and I was the only Asian, where I stood out, and I noticed that people were taking a second glance at me, because I believe that the restaurant was probably not a very touristy restaurant. And I think they were surprised to see an Asian there, because I believe that the Asian or the international community is not so big in Italy, in that particular area of Rome City.